Science for Everyday Decisions, series by Center for Sustainable Development at the Earth Institute, Columbia University. For your consideration for a more sustainable life through education for sustainable development.
Exciting and glad that everyone can join this Eco Ambassador workshop, and we'll be able to go through the presentation and maybe get some ideas on microplastic and some action points in the communities that we can use to deal with this question about reducing plastic, but again, getting a science-based idea on what is the problem and what have you done in the schools and in the communities. Will?
Oh, thank you. All right, so hi everybody. My name's Will Bertolotti. I'm a high school teacher at Plainedge High School, and today really the focus is on Spencer. And I've been really lucky. This is my second year working with Spencer, and I came through this period of time. I got to see Spencer really grow as a researcher and really grow as an environmental advocate in our community. And part of that was just watching just the learning process on both our ends. You know, Spencer really opened up doors for our school with regards to natural science projects. And so through a lot of hard work on his end and through a lot of perseverance, he connected with Dr. Joaquim Goes at Lamont. And working with Dr.Goes, Spencer created an actual, for our school, an actual microplastics project, which he then used to better inform our local community. And so the details I leave to Spencer, but really for all of us, you know, at the very least, the takeaway being, you know, that Spencer's work and the efforts of students like Spencer really should serve as an inspiration that really anyone, you know, anyone with passion, anyone with perseverance can bring about real science, conduct research, and also bring the meaningful change that we need at the environmental level going into the 21st century. So Spencer, buddy, all you.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Mr. B. I appreciate your kind words. So yeah, just basically based off what he was saying, I did my own little project and wrote a paper up. And I just want to go through what I really did and the results that I found and what changes that made in me and the people around me. So just go ahead and share my screen. One second. Okay. So, microplastics in Long Beach. It's a beach near me in Long Island, New York. And what I really wanted to do, I went in wanting to see like change be made, and I wanted to see the severity of the issue that I've heard so much about. So I figured I'd start local. And this beach was a clean beach. Like it was not something that I expected to have many results from. I wasn't really sure how this project was going to go. But as I went on further and further, I realized that the severity of this issue is a lot worse than I and anyone around me anticipated. So I started in my junior year, my sophomore year, the end of my sophomore year, I went into Mr. B's office and I was like, hey, I want to do a project. Can you help me out? So I started looking at the Caribbean reef squid, which I just wanted to look at their communication patterns. I was really interested in marine bio at the time, and they were just really cool to me. So I started researching like crazy. And I emailed a lot of college professors and got basically no responses. And any responses I did get were either we don't research this kind of stuff, or this is not something that anyone's researching. One person just said the only thing they know about squid is calamari. So I kind of shifted away from there. And I was like, all right, so what can I do with this love of marine bio? So what I discovered was the Pacific garbage patch. And at the time, I had no idea really what this was. I saw a video on it in my marine biology class, but I didn't know much about it. So I started researching, and it's just this huge mass of garbage and plastic in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And it's like twice the size of Texas. It is gone from like the 80s when they first started really seeing what it was, it has gotten massive. And it just covers the top layer of the ocean there. And there's not a ton of life that can really breathe through it, take light through it. It's kind of just there covering everything, shadowing the ocean below. So I saw this and I was like amazed that something like this was able to really get so bad and ignored. So I wanted to see, okay, so this is how bad it is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. What's it like near me? So I saw these pictures as well, which was, I don't want to say fascinating, but crazy. So the first one on the top left, that turtle as a young turtle got stuck in one of those soda can rings. And as it grew, its shell just had to grow around it because it couldn't get out of it. The bottom left is like, I guess animals have just learned to like adapt and live with the garbage and plastic that we've been throwing at them for so many years. So this is just a seahorse wrapped around. The next picture is a sea turtle that's actually stuck in a fishing net and obviously can't escape by itself. It's just biting and trying its hardest, probably getting more stuck in the process. The one under that is just a beach littered with plastic with a bird just kind of sitting there, not having any say in what's going on in his environment. The top right is a whale that was beached, and what happened to the whale was the whale's body thought it was full, so it didn't eat because its stomach was so full of these plastics that it didn't think it was like actually hungry, but it was getting no nutrients, so it starved to death because it didn't actually eat any meals. And then the bottom right, the last picture, is a turtle that got a straw stuck in its nose. And there were some people that were trying to help it out by pulling it out with pliers. And obviously the turtle was in quite a bit of pain in that picture. So I went to a beach near me about 40 minutes away, Long Beach, New York. Beautiful beach. I love it there. It's so nice. But I wanted to see underneath the surface, is it really as nice as everyone thinks it is? So I went and I developed this idea of how I could really do things. And the first thing that I could really collect were these sand crabs. So I wanted to go to a bunch of different jetties and see how bad the plastic pollution was at each of these jetties. And the easiest thing to find were these sand crabs. So what we ended up doing, using the device on the left and our hands, we dug up a lot of these sand crabs. So what the device on the left did, just to shed some light on it, it was outlined by Tufts University. My father and I actually built it. And you put weight on the top part there. And then as you slam it down into the sand, it goes deeper and deeper. So it's kind of like a core sample of the beach. And it was just easier to get further down and get the bigger crabs. So we collected as the wave came in, and as it receded, that's when we would grab a bunch of sand and we'd get going and start sifting through and see what we could find. So we did about 6 collection sites the first time, and we got all our crabs. It was 24 crabs, I believe. So we had 24 crabs ready to be dissected and all of that. So this is just a little outline of what the actual sand crab is. So what we ended up dissecting was the GI tract, because that's the only place that the plastics would really be. So what I did was I would cut open the carapace, and then using tweezers, I would just extract all the GI tract, and then we brought it to Stony Brook University so we could use hydrogen peroxide to digest it. So the only thing was left was the plastic. So all the lipid material was digested and the plastics were left, and we were actually able to look at them under a microscope. So I got in contact with Dr.Goes at Columbia University, and he was kind enough to let me come into his lab and actually work on this project. He said he's worked with some high school students before and he would love to work with me. So it was truly an honor. It was an absolutely amazing experience. The lab was fantastic with things that I've never seen before in my high school on Long Island. And it was just crazy to see like the real like implications of like how far these people went to make change in the world. It was absolutely amazing. So I got to go, and I used a stain they had. It's called Nile red, and what it does under a microscope, it makes all these plastics glow. So it was really easy to actually quantify the plastics because I could count them on the slide of each crab, and then I could see actually how many microplastics there were. So there were 3 different types of microplastics that I found. One of them is a microbead all the way on the left there, And that was from like cosmetics and makeup in years past that has gotten washed up in the ocean. And they actually did find out that microbeads were in these things and it became an issue. So these cosmetic companies stopped having their products with these things in them, which is fantastic. The next thing is microplastics, and that's just the general, any shape, any size of particle from either a car tire or a plastic water bottle, really anything that you have in your house or around you breaks down into these just little masses of plastic. And the last part is microfibers, which really comes from like nylon and cloth. And those were the long strands of glowing fiber. So my results were exactly what I wanted to find. So my project like mattered, but at the same time, I didn't want to find it because that meant that it was as bad as I thought, if not worse. So we found 228 total microplastic particles in my 24 crabs, 32 microfibers, and 20 total microbeads. So in my 24 little crabs that were maybe an inch long at most, we found over 200 particles of microplastics in this clean beach near where I live. And that was just so eye-opening to me because that's here. That's on Long Island. It's a clean beach. People go there a lot. And there are these little crabs. What about the places that aren't as clean as that? It's just so much worse than anyone thinks it is. And it's just, I really couldn't believe what I was seeing as I went through and kept counting, and they kept coming up. Like it didn't slow down. It didn't stop. It was astonishing, honestly. So that was the end of my actual research. Then I finished writing up my paper and everything. But I didn't want to stop there. That wasn't enough for me. I'd done everything, and I discovered and I realized, and I couldn't stop there. So I decided I wanted to make change. So with the help of Mr. B, I got into contact with some of the sophomores, and we started working together on how they could take my project and do more with it. They started sampling the sand. They planned in further years to do the same thing I did and see if it got worse, if it got better, how everything plays out. And I'm just really happy that something that I started will actually go and do something and make change. Even if it's just in Plainedge, it'll make change and it'll spark a start in someone's life and change something somewhere. And I've started a change in my life. I try and stray away from using plastics as much as I can. My friends and family around me, I tell them to do the same, and I show them these things, and I'm like, it's really, really bad. Like, we have to do something. So, yeah, that's basically all I have. That was what I did, what I tried to do. And, yeah, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me share my story and what I tried to do. And I hope this gets places, and I hope people see this, and I hope people decide to make change in their own life because it does help. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Spencer. This is really an eye-opening exercise for us because we have not done this science, research, and you have. I thought it was because we know that, yes, we need to cut down on plastic, but you actually lived it through your experience, through your experiment. So I don't know if you have any tips for our youngsters who are here. How can they use their coursework or their classwork to focus on something which is this important?
I actually did something similar to what you're asking. I went to an elementary school in my district, and I actually got to talk with the fifth graders who did some research on microplastics. And what they had done, they all had their own reusable water bottles. They customized them. They had their metal straws and everything. And they had done some preliminary research, and they were asking questions that were far beyond what I anticipated these 12-year-olds essentially to be asking. And it was just amazing to see the young population, these kids that were so much younger and understood as much as I did and cared as much as I do. It was so amazing just to see that these kids cared, and the kids can care. And it's so easy to get it out there. It's just a matter of starting, really. So if I had any advice to these kids, get yourself a reusable water bottle. Tell those around you to get themselves a reusable water. Start there, because everyone uses plastic water bottles. So start there, cut down. Saves you money, saves you time, and it saves the planet. So I see no downside. And then obviously from there, as you get older, you can do more, and just really get it out there to the adults around you. Show them how bad it really is, because a lot of them don't know. My parents didn't know, and I had to show them and be like, hey, this is not good. So yeah, just get out there. It's no reason to hide.
I also wanted to know whether you you had obviously a supporting teacher. You
Yes.
were able to get connected to the right universities. Is there any suggestion from you on students who may not be that fortunate? How can they deal with this situation?
Well, I will admit Mr. B was a more help than I can put into words with my projects and everything. But truly, persistence is the only thing that can get you to the point that I got to. Because the amount of colleges and professors that I emailed and contacted and tried to get into contact to was probably over 50, which is a lot in the span of 2 months maybe. And it was just getting used to hearing no and not expecting a no, but being ready for it, and just keep going, keep researching. There's always someone out there. There's never every single person can't say no. Someone is going to say yes. So it's just a matter of finding that person, and luckily I did. And again, without the help of Mr. B, it would have been a lot harder, but definitely possible.
Great. Are there questions from anyone else?
Spencer, I know your research also got a lot of the younger kids in your school, the grade below yours, as you mentioned. They're starting their own research related to microplastics. For maybe, and this is kind of, I'm opening this up to other eco ambassadors in the group as well. In the research that you've done, what are some other related topics that you think would be helpful to continue looking into, in addition to, collecting sample from local environment, which is, really great for communicating what the issue is in that particular environment as well. But are there any other related research topics that maybe other students can take on?
Well, one thing that the kids in my school did, instead of taking samples of animals, they actually sampled the sand to see what was there. And obviously, you don't have to stay local. It doesn't have to be where just you are. And it could continue over time, not just like one person. Like hopefully the project that I did in 10 years, someone will repeat and do the same thing and see the results. And maybe even get into contact with people like we are here, but have people do the same thing that you're doing in the place that they live, which might be across the country, in a different country. So it's just the internet is so powerful, and you can do so much with it. So like getting into contact with someone who lives on the other side of the world isn't that hard. And communicating the project that you're doing and having them do the same project and sharing your results and comparing your results isn't as difficult as it obviously once was. So I think definitely getting yourself out there, getting yourself talking to as many people as you can definitely helps a lot.
That's great. Yeah.
I have a question. So, Spencer, I know how you you had to dissect the animals in order to get the data, but if we're all like doing this, saving the environment, it also helps the animals. So how does it really help if you have to if you have to kill them in order to get data?
Well, I see it as it's just a small step in a large procedure that has to be done. And although, yes, I did have to sacrifice those animals for my research results, I feel like for their population and the population as a whole, it was kind of worth it in a sense. And especially the kids using the sand, they're not doing anything, right? They're just sand. They're not killing any animals. They're not using any animals. They're just looking at the sand in a microscope, which maybe would have been a better idea for me to start with. But I think the way I rationalize it to myself is that I'm trying my best to help. And that was the way that I had to do it.
Yeah, I had
Okay, maybe Ishan, and then Ishika, if you have any question.
So to make the microplastics fluoresce, did you use Nile Red?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, I was also doing some research on microplastics and
Yeah.
in local tap water.
Okay.
And I also used Nile Red. I was with Joaquim.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nile Red's amazing stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Of course.
Ishika, your question, if you have any questions.
What exactly is Nile Red?
So Nile Red is a stain that allows the microplastics to become fluorescent under a microscope. So we let our little filters sit in the Nile Red for about 24 hours. So the stain was allowed to soak all the microplastics and the filter itself. So when we looked at it under a microscope, everything glowed and we could count it really easily.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? So I actually had I don't know whether I'm not too convinced about it, but I think this is a good platform to talk about this. I'll share my, I don't know if you guys can, just a second. So if you can see this is, it's a Cora ball. So one of Joaquim's students, we were discussing about microfibers, and she basically suggested that there is a lot of more than microplastic in her sample of, she was looking at, different fabrics and how they get into the ocean. And she was suggesting that polyester is a very bad fabric to include. And then I realized that my closet and my kids' closet are full of polyester. And it was very difficult for me to stop using polyester. So, and I tried to cut down quite a bit to reduce this microfibers, because according to her research, natural fibers are better. And polyester is supposed to be very bad because obviously it has a lot of plastic in it, and then it gets washed, it goes into the ocean. So I decided to go ahead and buy this Cora ball, which is supposed to have these spikes in it. And the spikes actually get the microfibers get attached to it. But I'm not really sure whether this thing is really working or not. Let me share my screen. Maybe, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Right. So here is this Cora ball. So I just wanted to get a few suggestions to see whether I'm on the right track, or maybe, this is something that I'm looking at, or maybe I'll do like a product review to see whether we have, whether we, is there a good substitute or not. I'm not sure what it is still doing in my, the washer, because it is still there and I don't see any microfibers attached to it, or maybe it takes a while to gather all the microfibers, and maybe it is being effective. So that's at least one suggestion that I had to decrease the microfibers that are going on, that are washed away through our laundry washing and things. But if you guys have other suggestions, I think it will be great to discuss those as well, to decrease the microfibers that go into the ocean. Any other suggestion on any?
I don't know if this is, not necessarily the same product, but I think one of the other products that Emerline, who presented the Cora Ball, talked about was also the detergent choice. Mm-hmm. Right. So, yeah, like just making sure to be pretty selective about and checking the label to see what kinds of chemicals and different solutions that are used in the detergent. Apparently there are some that are significantly less than some of the kind of mainstream brands, unfortunately.
You're right, Hin. So she actually was suggesting to use organic detergent. I asked her specifically of the one that is sold in Trader Joe's. That is the organic detergent, and it's much better than Tide and other detergents who have a lot of microbeads based on her research. So I've switched to using that detergent. And also the another good part of using Trader Joe's detergent is that it comes in a cardboard box. It comes in a cardboard box. It doesn't come in a plastic thing that I have to throw. So that's something that is also like a plus, to use organic detergents and not use other, we know they'll have microbeads, the other detergents. Any other question?
I had kind of a broader question, Spencer, to you, but also to others on the call. One question that we get a lot when we talk about microplastics is people asking, oh, how does it affect people's health and our health because of our exposure? So I was just thinking that it might be as collectively as a group, that was a good topic that we could maybe look into, is the health aspect of the kind of consequences of what we're finding in the sea kind of organisms. Because yeah, you're right, it's just very much concentrated now in a lot of the seafood that we consume as well. So that's maybe one area we get quite a few questions on, like, what is the health consequence? And I think, Spencer, maybe in your literature review, did you have something on the finding?
I was just about to pull that up, actually, yeah. So give me 2 seconds.
It's actually very helpful to see, someone talk to someone who's actually done the research. And I hope that, all the other eco-ambassadors who are here on the call should take, some few things from, maybe they may not be interested in plastic, but they may be interested in using science for environmental purposes. I thought that would be a good link that everyone can, use. Also, that not all subjects and all science related environmental links will be taught in school. They may or may not be, but it will be up to you to carry on. And as Spencer said, be persistent with it, to take that beyond the classroom and use it in a different context and make it much more practical. I thought that's a very interesting, use of Spencer's research.
All right, so I just went back to my research, and like you said, a lot of microplastics are ingested from fish consumption, and that really is an issue there's not a ton of research out there about it. But one statistic I found was that the average adult human consumes about 70,000 microplastic particles per year. And that's a lot of that is quite a lot of particles. And I don't know if anyone's 100% sure what that means for us. I don't know how bad that really is. But another statistic I found was that these microplastics absorb toxins like PCBs in polluted waters. So if these toxins are ingested, it could lead to liver cancer, gallbladder cancer, a lot of different types of cancers because of these PCBs that get absorbed from the microplastics. So the microplastics themselves may not have a terrible effect towards us, but the things that they can carry and the things that build off of them can be quite detrimental.
Thank you. And Ishan, since you're also looking at microplastics in the local water, if somehow it can be furthered in the research for the health part, and when you talk to the community members or teachers and principals about the water quality, that's another aspect that maybe we could bring in, is the health consequences.
Yeah, we can do that.
At least we can, start talking about it, and maybe it will lead to, it needs a lot of other research, more serious scientists need to be involved in it. But it is something that we can bring up again and again when we are convincing people about, plastic issues in general, that it's not just some sea animal or someone, getting affected. It's us, because it comes back to us in tap waters and, other things. So that's again something that, and then we obviously eat a lot of fish and other things which include a lot of microplastic in it. We can, extend that when it comes to us, when our health is impacted. I think that has a much more direct impact on convincing people than saying, yes, this has this and this has microplastic, and yes, it's some wild animal or something. So that can be another way of convincing people not to stop using plastic. Anything else? So what are your next steps, Spencer? Are you going to continue with this research and some other new strand of it, or are you moving on to another research topic?
Well, I'm a senior at Plainedge, so I'll be going off to college in August. I'm going to Binghamton University, and I got the opportunity to be a part of their freshman research immersion program. And there are a bunch of different topics that they research, but the one that hopefully I get assigned to, it was my first preference, but is the neuroscience one, which is what I'm majoring in, which is I want to do professionally further down. And one of the things that they research a lot is Alzheimer's, which is something that I'm super, super interested in and would love to actually be a part in the change and hopefully cure of. So I am straying away from my marine bio roots, but I'm still definitely staying in the research world, hopefully continuing forward the rest of my life in that. And but yeah, the next step is definitely Alzheimer's or something along the lines of neuroscience.
Great, and I'm sure you already have the research skills to think analytically, to make it practical, to do a literature review. All those skills you already have. So I'm sure you will be, already step forward, and you will be able to do much more than expected from you. So I wish you good luck, and I'm sure you will be able to do a great job of your new research topic, as well as in with your research impact a lot of people around you. So good luck, Spencer. I think this is great that you are already on the right path. So Will, I don't know if you thanks. Will you have any further comments for Spencer?
I guess in general, I guess Spencer, I'm really glad you clarified, right, the role of the teacher. And I guess it really is, I guess, just a testament to what students can accomplish, and really like the mindset of what is a student. And I'd like to think that, for all of you, your teachers really have a mindset that our goal really is to get you to the point where you realize you don't need a teacher, that you are your own teacher, right? And, oftentimes I see with my younger students that they ask the question, well, can I do this, right? Can I do X? Can I do Y? Can I do this? Can I succeed? And really, the question really should be, how can I do it, right? Not a yes, no, how can I do it? Right? So what questions can I ask? And who can I ask those questions to, right? And if you can all just start practicing that kind of mindset, you'll start to realize that really there are very few things that you can't accomplish with a lot of hard work. And I guess if I could just bring up maybe some of the bloopers on our end, right? So yeah, sorry, Spencer. So like that one time when we went to collect using the core sampler, and we accidentally slipped, and Spencer conked himself on the head, and I was like, oh my God, you gotta tell your parents this. Or that time we showed up at Dr.Goes' lab, and our first batch of samples were just not good. And I said, hey, Spencer, you know what? Maybe we'll figure out some other way to get samples, or something magical will happen. And I'll never forget when Spencer looked me in the eye and said, no, we're going tonight. And that very night, we went all the way back from Columbia, from the New Jersey campus. We went back to Long Beach, and then collected a whole new batch of samples. And he processed them the next day on one of the vacation days, right? And so I guess two ends here to just keep in mind, all of us, is that, keep your mind open, right? Have faith in yourself. You are all able to accomplish great things, right? Part of it is just realizing that, right? As ego ambassadors, you have incredible potential. You have so much energy. You've got time on your side, right? And also, right, have faith in yourself that you're willing to go through a lot of failure, and that failure isn't bad, right? The failures that we encountered on our end were amazing learning experiences, right? And the failures that we experience, I use as learning opportunities for our current underclassmen, right? We don't make the same mistakes, right? And on our end, anytime you experience failure, right, it's really a learning opportunity. What went wrong? What can you do to fix it, right? And then fix it. All right, so I guess all in all, you're all awesome, and I really do look forward to hearing what research accomplishments you guys come up with. So thank you.
Thank you, Will. And on that note, I just wanted to share this link, which includes a presentation on self-learning. And, I'm not a self-learner. I always wanted a teacher to validate my thoughts. And I was also, Will, you are, right in observing the fact that I always used to go and ask my teacher, can I do this? I'm the, perfect example of asking. And I aced all my exams, very good at note taking. But I needed my a validation till my PhD, and I am not a self-learner. Till now, I try to be a self-learner, and I think it's a skill on its own. Which now we have a lot of technology access, a lot of information. So this video talks about non-linear education, that earlier on you used to go to school and then you get the information from your teacher and you become a good student. That was my model, good student with a good teacher. But now I think we have progressed and there's a lot of information available everywhere. And so it is this non-linear education that we need to follow, and we can all become self-learners. We don't need validation from anyone. If we want to follow a topic, there is a lot of information available, and you approach, not like you do follow what Spencer did, have like non-linear paths to reaching a particular destination. It was not in his school, but he went to different professors, approached them. One was very happy to take him on, make him use his lab. So there are many ways of reaching that goal where he wanted to go. So this non-linear education, I think, is something that we need to keep in mind, and also use all the tools that is available. Even the Zoom call is a tool. It's not a part of the school curriculum, but you all are on there, and these people are eco-ambassadors who are there all the time. Ishan, Ayan, Itasha, Ishika, everyone is a regular viewer of this particular Zoom call, because it is an opportunity to learn. It is an opportunity to think about ideas and have more ideas to pursue your own interest. Make use of these opportunities, ask us questions, broaden your interests and broaden your ideas based on what others are doing. And I hope this will be a ongoing discussion, keeping Spencer's research in mind when you are doing your course curriculum, and also using this non-linear education that goes not just linearly from a teacher to a student, but also from the student to the teacher. As Will just said, we are all learners, and we don't require one person saying, yes, you can do it. We are confident enough, as Will said, and can become self-learners for life. Take that as a goal. If you are a self-learner, you can learn anything. But if you are like me, who was not a self-learner, then you have a very linear path to follow, and it can limit a lot of your horizons. And now, after I finished my PhD in education, I thought that maybe I should have gone into environmental sciences. But I didn't get that opportunity because I didn't maybe have a teacher like Will. So I hope everyone of us gets a teacher like Will and are able to follow their passion and interests. And I hope through this link, we are able to all inspire each other and follow our own interest and follow our own passion. So thank you, Spencer. We'll continue with our calls next week. We have a poet who will be talking about poetry and its linked to climate change. And so be prepared with your prose and your lines, poetry lines, and we'll see how we want to use poetry as a medium to reach our climate goals. Thank you, guys. If there are any questions, we can take the questions online, or you can reach us by email.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Spencer.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys. Oh, it was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. See you next time.